Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Friday Charge, brought to you by EV Geek Studios. As always, we are your hosts, Joel and Sebastian, and today, January 16th, 2026, we've got quite a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about EV Go and Kroger. Tesla is no longer selling FSD. We're going to go through some of the best-selling EVs of 2025 now that we have numbers. We've got some stories about Tesla supercharging. We've got stories about China. We got a bunch to talk about tonight. So, without further ado, let's plug in and get started. All right, let's start with our first topic. EV Go and Kroger are partnering up. This week, EVgo and Kroger announced a new DC fast charging initiative between the two companies. The two companies have announced plans to install 150 charging stalls per year through 2035 at Kroger family stores. And just as a note, this is Kroger family, not just Kroger, so it includes their subsidiaries such as Dillon's, Food for Less, Fred Meyer's, Fry's, Harris Teeter, King Soopers, Ralph's, Smith's, and more.
A lot of people's names in there. Ralph,
A lot of dudes.
A lot of dudes.
EVgo states that their plans are to install, quote, up to 16 stalls, end quote, per site. So at 150 stalls per year for 9 years, this could be as little as 84 stores. Of course, I doubt they would do 16 stalls at all of these locations. So just to give you the broadest range in the world, it could be as little as 84 stores. Or if they did 4 stalls per store, it could be 337 stores. The first location as part of this partnership is now open in Salt Lake City. The Kroger family consists of 2,700 stores across the United States. Kroger is not the first supermarket giant to enter the EV charging space. Walmart fully launched their plans at the beginning of 2025, and they currently have 236 stores in various phases of adding EV charging. Huge shout out to Landon from Arkansas EV Traveler for having this data easily available for me to go look it up. But yeah, this is cool. I mean, I'm excited to see more and more EV charging anywhere, especially places that people go already. You know, Walmart, Kroger, just places that people tend to spend time anyway, so it makes sense.
Buc-ee's.
I would like to see this be at a bit more of a rapid clip. 150 stalls really isn't that many per year, especially if you look at it, you're like, okay, that could be 10 to 20 to maybe 30 stores a year. And if you have 2,700 stores, I mean, you're really not talking about more than what, 10%?
Yeah.
Maybe. And so, yeah, I would like to see, obviously more than 10%, but this could also be just one of the first partnerships with Kroger. Kroger might also decide they want to partner with Iona. They might partner with Tesla. They might, who knows? But excited to see this roll out. Hopefully this is, good hardware. EVgo does have a tendency to sometimes do weird mix stations where they'll have like one 350 kilowatt stall and then a bunch of 50 kilowatt stalls, which low power DC fast charging does make sense in a grocery store environment. That said, this is going to be a resource that is probably going to want to be used by more than just people that are going grocery shopping. And so that's where you kind of need a good mix of both. If you're going to go the route of having low power DC charging, you do need to have at least 1, 2, maybe 3, in my opinion, high power DC fast chargers.
Yeah, so I'm thinking here in Arkansas, I mean, if you're looking at locations that are close to the freeway, we really don't have a lot of Krogers in central Arkansas that are close to the freeway. I think North Little Rock would probably be the closest, but pretty much all the rest of them are tucked back into residential neighborhoods. So
there's one in Bryant that's right on the service road. So
there's one right there by the Academy Sports, I believe, and is that near the Pilot Flying J2?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Which is also EVgo. Yeah.
Which is also EVgo. Yes, they probably wouldn't put one there. That would make sense.
It's interesting to think about. I mean, Hot Springs has 3 Krogers for some reason.
Yep.
So, we'll see where they end up.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, anything that will get EV people, will get EV chargers out there, I'm for. So kudos to EVgo and Kroger.
All right, moving on. Tesla to stop selling FSD with an asterisk at the end. Tesla has announced that starting February 14th, 2026, you will no longer be able to purchase FSD outright, instead requiring all new purchases to use the company's subscription model. The current subscription for FSD is $99 per month, and obviously at that price, it hasn't really made sense to buy FSD outright for quite a while. The current upfront cost for FSD is $8,000. There are some other theories on why Tesla might be doing this. By moving to subscription-only model, people are paying for the system's capabilities at the time of purchase. There is no overlooming promise that the car will be fully autonomous one day. If you just
Mhm.
pay for it up front, 10 years from now, your car will drive itself. We promise.
Pinky
By making
swear.
it monthly, you kind of get rid of that. And so you, by moving to monthly, you kind of get rid of that liability, right? There's all this talk right now about Hardware 3 owners who purchased FSD outright, but then haven't been able to use FSD in its full capacity for almost a year now because Hardware 4 has been basically required for the current stack of FSD. And now the big looming question out there is, does Tesla upgrade Hardware 3 cars to Hardware 4 on customers who have paid full price upfront for FSD? I don't know. Move to a subscription, that's no longer a promise because
Mhm.
Tesla could always, if they decide your car can't do FSD, they just cancel your subscription.
Mhm.
You use the service while you could, right?
Yep.
Um, and so I feel like that's probably a more likely reason why Tesla would do this. Also, this kind of leans into there's other theories about this having to do with Elon's pay package. I think one of the stipulations was it 10 million FSD subscribers, something like that. And
Yikes.
by moving to a monthly subscription, if you can get 1 month out of enough people type situations, you maybe can increase that take rate. Who knows? Especially if they can then, they bump the price of FSD down for a limited time offer or start doing pay for it annually and save this much, pay for it, 3 months at a time, save this much. Who knows what might be cooking up in Tesla's brain. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting. Tesla's been promising FSD and has sold it outright since 2015.
And some people are
And
still holding on to those cars, waiting for it to get it right
and there
because
are
they
still
ditched
people
this.
out there with Hardware 2 cars that paid full price for FSD back in 2015.
Which was what? What was the price again in 2015?
I think when it launched, it was a $5,000 option on top of the price of Autopilot, which was like another $2,000.
Okay.
At the highest in like 2022, FSD was a $15,000 option,
I remember that.
and now it's $8,000. And then soon it will be $99 a month.
I mean, it makes sense because if you buy it for the car, you lose it when you trade the car in. So
Well,
it's
not anymore. They have added the ability to transfer as long as you buy a car from Tesla. That has been a
okay.
recent addition,
Oh,
and
that's
it
I didn't
seems
know
to be
that.
sticking
Okay.
around now. Now, does it go away with
With the
this
subscription.
change?
Hmm.
Because how are they gonna? Can you transfer your lifetime license to a new car if they're moving to a subscription only model?
Hmm.
I don't know. Um, but yeah, they have recently been allowing people to actually transfer FSD because Tesla has needed people to buy cars. And so it's kind
Yep.
of pulling all the demand levers to see what gets people to upgrade from their old Teslas to new Teslas.
Yep. I was one of the fortunate ones that bought a used one that had FSD on it.
Yep.
So when I had my Tesla, I had FSD on it. And at the time when I got rid of it, there was no option for me to keep it. This was about, what, 6, 8 months ago. There was still no option for me
Hmm.
to keep it at that time. So I'm glad that they are making it available now to where if you did buy it and you do buy a Tesla from Tesla, you can transfer it. But it will not let you do it third party, will it?
Nope. You have to
Ooh.
buy it from Tesla. Again, it's one of those levers to get you to buy a car from Tesla.
Every time you say levers, I think of the Wizard of Oz behind this thing pulling everything. That's what
I
I
mean, that's
think. You know,
basically it, right?
it's basically what pulling things down, this making smoke go. I think that's what I feel like.
There's
So
some marketing guy
yeah,
in an office in
yeah,
California,
yep.
and that's literally he's just in there. He just goes, F.
What can I do
Mm.
today? Let's do free FSD for 6 months. There we go. Pull that lever. So yeah. So yeah, interesting. I mean,
We'll see.
yeah, I
We'll
I
see
don't
what
know if
this
they're
leads
going to
to.
get to that 10 million number, but that's going to be interesting. So
Well, I've seen some speculation, does maybe Tesla in the future, by moving only subscription, do they start doing tiers of FSD?
Yeah.
You
So like
know,
one tier one is highway driving only, or something like
and
that. And it
do
only
they
works on
start
highways.
doing, whatever, and then have a $49 a month plan and a 50 or $99 a month plan, or,
Hmm.
who knows? This kind of opens the doors for a lot more
Yes.
flexibility in how Tesla actually sells the product.
I totally agree. Yep. There's just different ways that they can manipulate and get more money. So totally agree.
Yep. Moving on. These are the best-selling EVs of 2025. Now that we are solidly in 2026, we finally have enough numbers to give you the best-selling EVs in the US for 2025. Get ready for some numbers. Here we go. Coming in at the number 1 and 2 spot, we have the Tesla Model Y at 357,528 units, which was a 4% drop year over year. And then at number 2, we have the Tesla Model 3 at 189,903 units, which is a 1.3% rise year over year. So before we get further, I know the whole thing of the US market is crossovers are king, right? Everyone wants
Hmm.
crossovers, people don't want sedans. Seeing the gap in that number on paper is insane.
Yep.
They sold almost double the number of Model Ys that they did Model 3s.
Hmm.
What's really insane, though, is the gap between the number 2 spot and the number 3 spot. At number 3, we have the Equinox EV with 57,945 units sold, which is a 100% increase year over year. But again, 57,000 units in the number 3 spot versus 189,000 units in the number 2 spot. We're getting there. We'll get there,
You'll
right?
get there. Yep. Eventually.
After the Equinox is the Mustang Mach-E at 51,620 units, which was relatively flat year over year. It was like a 0.3% change. And then we have the Ioniq 5 at 47,039 units, which was a 6% increase. If we look at the truck end of the spectrum, the best-selling electric truck for 2025 was the Ford F-150 Lightning, which moved 27,307 units. However, the GM triplets, so Silverado EV, Hummer EV pickup, and Sierra EV pickup, if you combine them, they did sell 35,059 units. Um, Again, that's not necessarily super fair because those are 3 different vehicles,
Hmm.
but they are the same underpinnings. And when you look at the way GM has previously broken down, they very frequently break down Sierra and Silverado as a lumped unit,
Is
because
it the same with
ultimately,
Hummer, SUV, and truck too? Same.
so it actually did break out pickup and truck,
Oh,
or
okay.
pickup and SUV. I was a little surprised by that. But on the gas cars, they do a lot of times bundle in like Sierra and Silverado sales numbers together because ultimately it's the same truck.
Yep.
Um, Tesla does not break out Cybertruck numbers. They just lump them into other models, which includes Model S, X, Semi, and Cybertruck. So we can't really say for sure how many Cybertrucks are sold. And Rivian hasn't actually released the total number of R1T versus R1S. They've released their numbers for the quarter, but not by model. Allegedly, that's coming sometime in February. I don't know what the long wait's for. Anyway, but yeah,
That
this
is
was just
weird.
cool to me. I'm happy to see that, we were finally at a point like, yes, 57,000 cars is still not that many cars,
Hmm.
but that's way more than even if you look 5 years ago, right?
Oh yeah.
Anyone who wasn't Tesla wasn't doing that kind of volume.
Hmm.
And will be interesting to see how after 2026 this number looks, with changing political climate, changing manufacturer decisions, and lack of tax credits. I cannot talk today, golly. Um, it'll be interesting to see how those numbers go, especially comparing US numbers to worldwide numbers, because worldwide numbers don't seem to show that anything's stopping.
Yep. Especially
Um,
China.
Meanwhile, here in the US, we're just going to stick our head in the sand and act like we can just ignore it.
That's right. I like how you
Speaking
say
of
I like how you say current political environment. I like how you say that. It's like
Well, speaking of
nice politically correct way to say that. So
speaking of the current political environment in China and digging our heads in the sand, China and Canada might be coming to an agreement. After moving with the US not too long ago to institute a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs coming into Canada, that may be changing thanks to a shift in political tensions between Canada and the United States. Canada originally initiated their tariff against China in step with the US to try and maintain the strong relationship between US auto industry and our neighbors to the north. However, since US President Donald Trump's return to office, we have struck a 25% tariff on Canadian goods. And as retaliation, Canada has struck a 25% tariff on US made vehicles. Due to this new spat, the logic behind originally blocking out Chinese EVs has faltered. China's initial retaliation against Canada also did a number on the country's farmers, and with this new dispute with the US, the country has now opened to resuming trade with China. A deal is being worked that would drastically reduce or remove the tariffs on Chinese vehicles, and in exchange, China would remove restrictions on import of Canadian farm goods.
Mm.
This news comes just after news that the EU and China were trying to reach a similar agreement about Chinese EVs. The EU's approach would be that Chinese EVs could be sold in the EU as long as they are not priced below an agreed upon minimum price. So this would, in theory, allow Chinese EVs to compete against the EU domestic market in a way that is fair pricing wise, right? They're not going to be able to super undercut, but they can compete on actual merit of the vehicle
Yep.
type situation. Um, Anyway, just thought this was interesting. The U.S. seems like we're just kind of wanting to isolate ourselves, dig our heads in the sand, pretend like the rest of the world doesn't exist, and other countries are like, okay, we'll just take on, we'll take, we'll start looking at China, we'll start looking at other countries that we previously were trying to stick away from, and see you later, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I talk a little bit about you mentioned about the EU deal possibly. We may have a little deep dive into that next week on one of our mini charge episodes about exactly how that works. It's kind of technical. It talks a lot about the WTO and things like that, and some jargon trade talk. But we'll kind of break it down for you one of those episodes. So if you're interested in that, look for one of those next week on our mini charge episode. But yeah, I mean, we kind of figured this. I mean, there's certain things China doesn't need America for. They'll just go somewhere else and get it. They did it with soybeans. They're like, hey, if you're going to tariff soybeans, we'll get them somewhere else. I mean,
Right.
and that's what other countries are doing, saying, hey, listen, if you're going to play hardball on EVs, Canada, they're like, hey, if the US is going to play hardball on EVs, we'll get EVs from somewhere else. I mean,
Right.
that's
And I want y'all to know, Joel and I do try semi-hard to not get political on here.
we try,
but it is getting increasingly harder and harder to not touch it. We try so hard because no one likes talking about politics. No one likes hearing about politics, but it gets to a point, it's like you can't ignore it.
Yeah. And we don't want to get to where we're so divisive that we have half our viewers saying yay, 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 and half our viewers hating us for what we're saying. But at some point we got to report it. And this is a big deal because it's hurting our own automakers. It's hurting them. And a lot of people don't understand that, like, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm like, yes, it is, because our automakers sell overseas too. They don't just sell in America. Ford, Chevy, GM, they all sell cars overseas. And if they don't have EVs to sell overseas or to compete, and they have some, then China's just going to obliterate them, especially with pricing. I mean, we did it on one episode. What, the Dolphin starts at what, 20, 22, 25,000 US dollars?
Something like that. Yeah.
If we could get it over here. I mean, I tell everyone, it's not if, it's when. Right. Someday we will have Chinese EVs over here. You mentioned last week about possibly Zeekr coming over. I mean, it's going to happen. A Chinese automaker is going to partner with someone over here to sell EVs. Whether it's, they're going to say, hey, let's partner with Stellantis. And hey, Stellantis, we're going to partner with you. We're going to open up one of your plants, make a couple of EVs there, and we'll give you a boatload of money because we have it, because it's all government subsidy. It's all government subsidies over there for EVs, and they'll do it. It's not.
Well, I mean, I've kind of felt this whole time, once they get to Canada, it's only a matter of time before someone decides to build some form of domestic manufacturing in Canada.
Yep.
One of these Chinese companies decides to start doing final assembly in Canada instead of shipping cars over, or Mexico. And then they start importing from Canada to the U.S. Yep. And while, yes, there would still be a tariff, or at least there is currently, it's a much lower tariff than the flat out 100%, whatever. And I kind of feel like they could probably still undercut US
Yeah,
automakers with a 25% tariff.
yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Think of it
it's
on a
just a
car
matter of
that's
when.
26 on a car that's $25,000, add 25% to it, you're still lower than most EVs here still in America. I
Right.
mean, yeah, and the tech is gonna be amazing, you know that. So, yeah,
So yeah,
it's
it'll
just
be
it's
interesting to watch how all this unfolds.
yes,
Um,
we love digging our own graves, we just love it. So,
Speaking of digging your own graves, actually,
there we
that's a
go.
terrible segue. This has nothing to do with that. Congratulations. You can get a third row in your Model Y again. After
Sweet.
a brief hiatus, you can now get a third row of a Tesla Model Y again if you're a US customer and regularly haul around the world's tiniest humans or people with no legs. The new Model Y third row is the same size as the old one, meaning you are realistically not putting people back there ever.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it is starting to look like the US might not get the new Tesla Model Y L, which was released in China in late 2025. The Model Y L puts captain's chairs in the second row and extends the car's wheelbase by 6 inches so that the third row has some actual legroom.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can find a picture of the Model Y third row just to kind of throw up on the screen real quick,
I will
just to
try.
show I am not exaggerating when I say you have to have no legs to sit back there. I honestly
Just
feel like it's too tight for children even.
unless they're, like, below the age of 5.
Maybe, but if they're below
Yeah.
the age of 5, they're gonna be in a car seat and probably not in the very far back of a Tesla Model Y.
I mean, sure. So, let me see if I can find a good image here. Of course, you know when I wanna find a good image, I can't. So let's go to here. I
I'm
mean,
surprised
this
there's not one in the article you have pulled up.
there was not. I don't think there was. If there is, I'm
You're
going
still
to,
sharing that screen.
oh, good. So let's check. There's a
Wow,
video
there's not.
which I really
No,
don't wanna
yeah.
play. So let's stop sharing this,
What
and
the heck?
what the heck? We'll just go over here, and this is kind of I mean, it's not the best view, but it will work. It's an overhead view. Um, so so as you can see, there is no you can see how much leg room is here between these 2, and back here, there's none.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
it's tiny. I mean, if you've seen one in real life, you know that it's tiny and they've not made it any bigger.
Yeah, I mean
But if this is something you care about, then go buy a new Model Y. It is a legitimately great car.
yep.
Legitimately hugely improved over the outgoing car, if as long as you don't need a third row.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's why people say it's a three-row SUV, and I'm like, it's yeah, I guess on
Is
paper,
it?
yeah. On
I
paper,
mean, that's
maybe? I mean,
it's like if the Model X is already barely a three-row SUV,
yeah.
the Model Ys, I you just can't. I don't see it. It can't
Yeah.
be.
And I don't know. I gotta ask Colin. He would know. I don't know if the market is big for three-row Model Ys. I don't know if that's a request he gets. I'll need to ask him when I see him this weekend. I just don't know if that's a big request, but
Yeah, I don't
maybe it
know.
is. I don't know. So who knows? If you have a Model Y seven-seater and you love it, put it in the comments. Tell us why you love it because I don't get it. I mean,
Yeah, me either. Well, since we've been talking about Tesla, we'll keep doing it. Tesla Supercharging has gained a new partner. The Tesla Supercharger for Business program has a new partner, and I have very conflicting feelings about this. So, for those who are unfamiliar, the Supercharger for Business program is a new initiative by Tesla where third party companies can white label Tesla's popular hardware, and then Tesla will still perform payment processing, installation, maintenance, etc. Tesla's newest partner in this is the infamous CPO, Francis Energy, with the team's first site opening in Norman, Oklahoma this week. This new location features 4 stalls capable of delivering 325 kilowatts. Remember that number. With magic docks for both CCS and NACS connectivity and pretty reasonable pricing, I felt like, at 44 cents per kilowatt hour. So, on one hand, I am happy to see Francis Energy launch this partnership. You know, you and I have driven through Oklahoma enough times to know that you avoid Francis Energy when you
they're
can.
trash. They are.
Um, and so, hopefully, if they start installing Supercharger for Business and Tesla's responsible for maintenance and payment processing and all that, things will get better.
Yes.
Because Tesla Superchargers are at least reliable. On the other hand, so you notice that peak power output I said earlier?
Mhm.
325 kilowatts?
Mhm.
You know what that means, right? It's a V4
V4
dispenser with a
it's a V4
V3
cabinet, yes.
cabinet.
Yep,
It's a V3 cabinet again, which means you
yep.
get the same limitations you get on Tesla superchargers on V3 cabinets. A
Which your
550
800
volt
volt
max,
cars. Yep.
a 550 volt max output, which means you can only charge below, 550 volts, meaning 800-volt cars can't get full power. Really, the only cars that can get full power on a V3 Tesla supercharger are Teslas.
Yeah.
Because Teslas are the only cars that will request more than 500 amps that I can think of
Mhm.
from a Tesla supercharger. And if these have the same logic as Tesla superchargers, there's actually, I think Volvo in the EX90 will request 600 amps um, to get to its peak rate because it's a bit lower voltage pack and it needs that extra energy to get there. But Tesla, on their network at least, for third-party EVs, caps all third-party EVs at 500 amps. So even though a Tesla Model Y might pull 645 amps for split second to get that 250 kilowatt peak fast charge rate,
Mhm.
they won't allow other automakers to do that. So assuming this has the exact same limitation, that means the only cars capable of charging at full power on this France's energy station are Teslas. And I feel like that is such a cop out.
Yep.
Tesla's like, hey, I want to sell you our hardware so that you, as a third party CPO, can have good, reliable hardware for all EVs that you want to serve. And then selling these companies this hardware and then turning around and be like, oh, by the way, our cars are the only ones that charge perfectly on these.
Mhm.
Tesla does have the V4 cabinet. The V4 cabinet supports more than 550 volts. It'll go up to 1,000 volts. That's great. Tesla still only has one site in the wild using these V4 cabinets. I do not know what the holdup could possibly be on rolling out V4 cabinets. I feel like if Tesla was going to do the supercharger for business thing, which I think ultimately is a good idea, right? It kind of gives Tesla more flexibility and being able to get this hardware out. It gives them another revenue stream of being able to
Mhm.
sell their hardware to other people, things like that. I think that's a great idea. I really feel like it shouldn't have been launched until they could reliably source V4 charging cabinets.
Mhm.
Because I don't think it makes sense to install hardware that doesn't optimally support all EVs in 2026. You know what I mean?
So question for you. Do you think the issue is the output of the hardware, or do you think they don't want their cars getting that much power?
Well, I mean, their cars will only request what the
Yeah.
cars request.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the cabinet supporting 1,000 volts has no effect on Tesla's cars that don't support high voltage charging.
Yeah. So that's what I'm wondering,
Um,
if their concern is their cars, you just limit to what the charger can pull from their car standpoint.
yeah, I mean, the car will only ever request what the car wants. So, as
Yeah.
long as the car is programmed to not ask for more than 500 amps, and the car's not going to pull more than 500. No, this is literally just for some reason, Tesla cannot seem to get V4 cabinets off the line.
Yeah.
They announced them over a year ago, 2 years ago, I feel like at this point. I honestly don't remember. It feels like it's been forever. And at this point, here we are. There's one site open. It is finally open to all EVs. So,
Mhm.
it was opened a few weeks ago and was still Tesla only, which meant only the Cybertruck could take advantage of the, 500 kilowatt peak rate. They do now have it open to all EVs, which is great, and it's been confirmed. People with Ioniq 5s, EV6s, etc., have gone and confirmed they do get their full 240-ish kilowatts out of it.
Sweet.
Great news. Love it. Why is there still only one site?
Yep.
It
I
just
I
doesn't make sense. I
I
don't
don't
get it. I don't
understand.
know what the holdup is.
Is it a component issue? Is it a sourcing issue? I mean, other manufacturers are not having issues with it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's basically the only charging manufacturer, CPO
yep.
company, whatever you want to call them, that I can think of that is still manufacturing and installing hardware that doesn't go over 500 volts.
Yeah.
And maybe that's a US thing. Maybe outside of the US it's more common, but in the US I feel like, I mean, even your ancient ABB Electrify America stations support, 1,000-volt charging.
And especially with all these chargers Ionas rolling out, they all support that high speed charging.
Yeah,
So and the ones Walmart's rolling out, which are the same ones, with the same
right.
Alpatronic units that Iona's rolling out for the most part, support this high speed charging. So it doesn't make sense that I don't know. Tesla kind of went from like cutting edge technology and charging, and then they kind of then everyone else caught up and kinda surpassed them, and I don't understand why.
Now, I mean, I still feel like they have the edge on reliability.
Oh, there's
I s
reliability. Yeah, oh, yeah.
I still feel like they have the edge on integration and
Mhm.
things like that, but the
But
hardware,
speed,
they
yeah.
seem to be having an issue with hardware, and I cannot figure it out for the life of me. And
Mhm.
this is the same thing we've talked about too, as they've been releasing new cars, their charge curves aren't getting any better.
Yeah.
Their peak charge speeds aren't getting any better outside of Cybertruck, which can theoretically hold 500 kilowatts for 10 seconds
Yep.
and then is back down below 300 or 250 kilowatts or whatever by the time you've charged 5%. Anyway, um, but they're still, releasing refresh cars, putting new battery packs in these things, new cell designs, whatever else, and they're not increasing charge power. And I just cannot figure it out. And part of me almost wonders if they're still limiting cars like Model Y to this 400-volt class because there are so many V3 and a half stations out there. There'd be no real benefit to moving them to 800-volt yet.
Mhm.
Are they trying to play the whole cart before the horse game where they're going to make sure they have enough V4 stalls out there so that when people buy Model Y and they advertise 325 kilowatts and then people buy them, they can actually get that power? I don't know. Um, it's interesting to me. I would love to know what Tesla's logic is on this, and I just want to know. I want a little bit of transparency on what the holdup is. I feel like
Totally
Tesla
agree.
is so good at promising stuff sometimes. I feel like at some point we need them to be slightly accountable.
Yeah.
You've been promising V4 cabinets for a year now or over a year now. Where?
Yeah.
Why? Like, what's going on? I don't have investment in Tesla. I don't invest in automotive stocks because I feel like that's a conflict of interest. But if I was a shareholder in Tesla, stuff like this would be like, okay, what's going on? I have a
Yeah.
financial interest in this. I want to know.
Yep. I'm seeing Iona do it. I'm seeing EA do it. I'm seeing Walmart do it. Why not Tesla? So, you make good points. I can't disagree with you, which I want to, but I can't disagree with you. I want to, but I can't.
And our final topic of the night is another one that Sebastian's going to get slightly heated for. I'm sorry. Blink has started
Jeez.
testing a new payment method. ChargePoint operator Blink has started testing a new feature that is designed to make activating one of their chargers even harder. Somehow. I Listen, if anyone from Blink watches this, reach out to me. I would love to smooth things over. I have a special hatred right now, just recently, for Blink. Um, I Me and Blink are like oil and water. I have bad luck every time I try. Anyway, at select Blink locations, you can now pay for charging for drum roll
It's on the screen, so.
cryptocurrency. That's right, cryptocurrency. Select locations are now going to be accepting USD coin, which is a stable coin based on the US dollar. Blink states that their system supports paying through most of the major, quote, blockchains, end quote, and that this feature is intended to offer, quote, payment flexibility along the normal methods like apps and credit cards. Oh, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
losing brain cells as I talk about this because this is just so dumb to me. We, as I've already been ranting about here, we need to be making EV charging easier.
Easier.
Plug and charge, app free experiences, being able to just walk up to it and have a reliable credit card reader and just go, dude,
Yep.
and you're done. Because we already figured this out with how you pay for gas.
Yeah. Like
You roll to the
like
gas pump.
like 20 years ago, we figured it out. Longer than that, yeah.
And so Blink is managing to do something that accomplishes none of that.
Nothing, yep.
Because, what's the market here? Why would someone choose to have to activate the charger in the Blink app, go through the process of connecting their Blink account to their crypto wallet, where they then have to have a suitable amount of this USD coin to cover the cost of their charging? And by the way, USD coin is a stable coin, so one USD coin is always equal to one US dollar. So
Mhm.
in order to get USD coin, you have to spend the exact same amount of US
Yeah.
dollars to put that in your wallet that you then have to connect to Blink so that Blink then can take out your cryptocurrency and then convert that back into US dollars.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's asinine. Totally asinine.
It's like, is this money laundering? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
My
know.
head hurts.
Yes. And I don't, I'm one of those people. I don't know if it's because I'm almost 50. Crypto has no interest in me. I have no
Yeah,
interest in crypto.
it's
None.
like I have loose understanding, but like
Yes.
it's not interesting to me. I spend
I have
money.
no understanding, which is why I'm not into it. So,
And so yeah, this is so because like also the Blink app is bad enough as it is.
oh, it's horrible.
And I can't imagine trying to then go through here and set up a wallet, a crypto wallet, and then making sure I have funds in the crypto wallet and then linking it. Like I just and
Yeah,
also by the time you're doing that,
I'm
I'm
getting
sure
a
the
headache. I'm
screen
getting a headache while you talk about it. Let's
it's like
just
I'm
say
sure the
that.
screen where you go in and set up your crypto wallet also just has a button to add a freaking credit card.
Yeah, probably does.
And adding a freaking credit card is easy because you just type the numbers
Yeah.
in and hit save.
Yes. Or you just take it up
uh,
to the machine and tap it.
all right, Joel, please tell me you have some form of good news to end the night on, but please tell me I don't have to end the night with a headache.
I don't have any news
Let's
this
talk about
week.
mini charge. Talk about what we've done this week.
Oh, so yeah. So if you're new to the podcast, welcome. New year. Glad you're here. So we have recently started, if you follow us on Apple, Spotify, podcasts, wherever you're, or whatever audio platform podcast you use. I recently, probably in the last couple months, started just a little mini charge segment over there, where I try to do it every day, but sometimes life gets in the way, like it did yesterday, and I couldn't. And So it's just a little quick. They're meant to be 10 or 15-minute episodes. Sebastian hopped on the last one, and it was 25 minutes long, but
Sorry.
it was we call those our supersized mini charge episodes. So yeah, but they're just to kind of give you a glimpse of just a hot or interesting news article or topic for the day that maybe we can't make a complete show out of. But it's something that we could talk about, or I could talk about, or Sebastian could talk about for 10 minutes or 12 minutes, just to kind of give you just some random facts. And we just call it a mini charge episode. It's usually one story. Sometimes, depending on it, it's two if the two stories are related. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a story coming out next week, a mini charge episode about the EU and China trying to broker a deal to remove tariffs based on minimal purchase pricings or things like that. So that will be next week. That's like a 10 or 12-minute episode. So if you're interested in that, our goal is to have content almost daily come out to you. So if that interests you, check back in. We have those mini charge episodes. Of course, we'll still do our Friday charge episodes, and we'll still have our car reviews. We'll still have our product reviews and things like that. If you're curious here in the next couple of days, Sebastian this week has been working hard on the revamped EV Geek Studio website, which Sebastian will go live soon.
It is live now.
Oh, it is live now. So yeah, head on
I forgot
over
to tell you. Sorry.
to evgeekstudios.com. Check out our new live website. There is a link in the description. So check that out. Kudos to Sebastian for working on that because he's our techie design person. And yeah, we got some cool things on there. Kind of breaks down, talks a little bit about our mini charge episodes and our Friday charge and our EV reviews. If you're interested in working with us, whether you are a company, CEO, product review, interested in advertising with us, sponsoring us, there's a form for you to fill out there. So it's just kind of last year, that was our really first year digging into the website. It was basically a Google site, wasn't it?
It was
Last
a
year.
Google site.
Yeah, this was a Google site last year. We were cheap last year because we had to be. And we kind of just decided this year we're going to up that with things like that. At some point, there may be an option for us to do a monthly newsletter to where you kind of let you know what's going on with us, let you know what's going on with the channel, and kind of give you just some hot topics that we talked about this month. So yeah, it's just some different things we're trying out this year. This is kind of year 3 for us. So we're just trying some new things this year. Some will stick, some won't. But yeah, keep
Yeah, I
coming
mean,
back
I
every
have
day.
dreams to be able to use the new website, for hosting data of some
Yeah,
form, whether it be charging data or vehicle, like ranking vehicles or publishing charge curves or
yeah,
range estimates or just whatever.
yeah,
Depends on what we can kind of start getting our hands on and start actually digging into
yep,
reliably. But
yep,
that's kind of my goal. And it's like, well, if I'm going to want to do that, I have to have good ground to stand on to make it happen.
yeah.
So anyway,
So it's up, but you'll see over the next 6 months to a year more added to the website. So go to the website, evgeekstudios.com, bookmark it, save it. Let us know your thoughts in the comment. Check out the website. We'd love feedback. Say, hey, have you thought about doing this? Thought about doing that? We'll take those comments. We'd love to hear them because you all may be thinking about stuff that we're not thinking about. So, you know, kudos to, I saw, Brandon Flash was kind of up doing his website too and saw the electric duo. So yeah, just kind of that time of year, beginning of the year, just for everyone to kind of refresh those websites. So yeah. So on another note, what review do we have come out this week, Sebastian?
I think this week we had come out the Cadillac Optic for
Mhm.
2026, and I believe Monday I'm gonna do the EX30. I'm gonna start editing it after we stop recording.
Ooh, the diving
So
car.
we get to drive an EX30 cross country. We talked about it a little bit. I love the EX30. The cross country is a just more fun off-roady ish looking version of the EX30. So super excited about that. So stay tuned for that coming Monday. Or earlier if you're a member. If you happen to be a YouTube member, hi Diane, Doug, and oh gosh, I know your username's at Electric Tech Buzz. I cannot remember your first name. I'm so sorry. If shout out to you three. Once I'm done editing it, you can watch it earlier. And if you want to join those three, you can join us here on YouTube.
It's the price of a Starbucks coffee a month. That's all it costs.
It's less than
And
that, honestly.
and actually, I'd like to eventually this year to start branching out and doing some more things for our paid members. Maybe just hosting just a chat session where they come on, I can ask some questions, we just chat with them. So if that's something you're interested in, yeah, I mean, I like to do one of those this year, maybe not every month, but maybe every other month. We invite our viewers to come and chat with us and ask some questions and things like that. So our paid members. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
All right. Well, that is a wrap for today's episode. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your audio content, tap that follow button and leave us a quick rating. It really does help us grow. So long, everyone, and we will see you on the next episode of the Friday Charge.